For the past few weeks, the 7th and 8th grade crews at Tahoe Expedition Academy have been studying the impacts of snow culture in the Lake Tahoe area. Squaw Valley is proposing a massive development which will have huge environmental impacts. To better understand the balance between development and sustainability, we visited Hutchinson Lodge up at Donner Summit to learn more about the impacts of snow culture. Throughout that time, we gained a huge appreciation for the Tahoe area. We also visited Alpine Meadows and learned about how avalanches affect our community. Water goes in and out of the rocky shoreline. I have been swimming Lake Tahoe. The tourists don't know the beauty of this place. Their skin is wrinkled and their hair sandy. The waves small, the white mountain peaks tall. The squirrels chase each other in circles. Their claws on the trees dig into the bark and kick off dirt and pine dust. A tourist runs around the beach feeling happy. He has no idea that I am about to sprint away. Just like a coyote in the morning, I run through the mist swiftly. I let the wild accept me willingly.
To start off the SnoWhat expedition, we met with journalist Melissa Sid. She shared with us the opinion of Tahoe's locals on the Squaw Valley development. Some people are excited for the development because it will add more things to do in Tahoe. Others are trying to stop it from taking away Tahoe's natural features.
I would say the biggest concerns one thing that the opposition says is they say that the environmental analysis did not properly analyze impacts to Lake Tahoe, especially with regards to traffic. So that is actually on that's the basis that Sierra Watch is suing Squaw Valley right now. So they're saying that the report did not analyze at all what happens when all these 1,000 more people who are coming, they're probably going to drive to Lake Tahoe and the impacts on the lake, because the more cars that go to the lake, the more pollution there is, and that affects the clarity of Lake Tahoe. So it's very real impacts. That's one. I think another is just the size and the scale of the project.
To gain further info about the impacts of the Squaw Valley development, we met with Tom Morris, who's the executive director of Sierra Watch. He talked to us about Squaw Valley and how they are planning a massive development that will have massive impacts on the environment and snow culture.
To gain more of an understanding of avalanche safety, we went on a trip to Hutchinson Lodge to learn about avalanche safety with an expert named Daryl. We also were informed about snowflakes with Megan Collins and Joey from the Desert Research Institute.
Later that month we met with Brendan Gibbons and Evan Salty. Brendan explained to us layers of snow and how they are formed, what he does for his job, and this taught me that snow, it comes in so many different forms, and that is what makes snow special. Evan taught us about the tragic avalanche in 1982 at Alpine Meadows.
To bond around, and then the crystallization to aggregate, right? So we do the same thing. We mimic this with what we do, okay?
A couple weeks later, Ben Trussman taught us about the amount of cubic feet of water going through the Truckee River per second and how to measure it in other different places. We met with Ed Parvin on the Truckee River near Boca Reservoir. We talked about how much CFS, cubic feet per second, is flowing through the river and how that affects the wildlife and the people downstream.
We also met with Chris Sega at McCarran Ranch talking about restoring the Truckee River in the area. He showed us the before and after pictures of the river. Almost no greenery and unnatural river flow to the lush environment and natural river flow. To further our knowledge about how Pyramid Lake affects the tribes in the area, we met with Billie Jean. She was part of the Paiute tribe and grew up playing and swimming in the Truckee River and Pyramid Lake. Seeing the change in the river over Lake Tahoe from when she was young was the drive to open the eyes of the community. Some impacts of snow culture is the amount of water that we get that supplies the Tahoe Basin with water and the Truckee River. The difference between development and sustainability is whether or not it affects the environment. These experiences have changed us mentally and physically. Throughout this experience, we have learned about snow culture and how it affects us, and the people and all the animals around us. We will always remember all the great experiences we had on this trip. One thing that we found surprising was how much water flow and snowpack affects our daily lives. Overall, this expedition has taught us so much about our community.
This semester, our crews went on many adventures. We had a great time this year and saw amazing things. Now I've started to appreciate this area for its beauty and the resources it brings us.
Overall, we've learned so much about snow culture and how it affects us and our community. Something that I found surprising was how much our community depends on water.
Learning about how people helped the Truckee River and how people destroyed it really surprised me because people actually used dynamite to blow up the fish in the river so the natives at Pyramid Lake couldn't get their food supply. I used to think that the Truckee River was not really important, but now I know it is much more. I appreciate the beauty of the Truckee River and the community now because it is very important to me because I learned so much about it.